this vehicle so much is the ride-hailing apps, your Ubers, your Bolts, your Faras, all these ride-hailing apps. What are they doing to sort of inculcate the uptake of EV within their business model? Now, electronic vehicles are quickly gaining precedence as sustainable and more efficient mode of movement compared to internal combustion engine vehicles, with the ride-hailing community urged to take up more vehicles, that is EV vehicles. Despite this, initial funding and taxation remains a barrier, with stakeholders calling on the government to offer fiscal incentives to drive uptake. Here's more.
The initial cost of the vehicle is quite costly because, one, the taxes, So this car is not as expensive as it is on the other side, but by the time it comes into the country, the price has appreciated significantly. So we were having this conversation with the Taxi Association of Kenya with anticipation for the budget that is going to be released within the next few days. So we are hoping there's going to be tax reliefs from the government about these products, and more beyond that, we are going to be setting up a plant here in Nairobi so we can bring in the vehicles in partially broken down format or completely broken down format so that we can make it cheaper, because once they come in, we just put them together and sell them, and they're going to be a lot cheaper.
Of taxation. Taxation is one of the key obstacles to ownership of these vehicles.
All right, that's quite interesting. Dr. Tobias, EV, everyone is talking EV, and I see your key here. Yeah, I don't know when you look at this electric vehicle discussion, especially for Kenya as a market. So far, the approach looking at, I saw some intentional approach with the matatu sector. You've seen some key players within the city now have electric buses. Now they're approaching ride-hailing apps and they're telling them you can take up EV. What do you think is the space of electric vehicles in Kenya's transport system?
The EVs will actually fill in the gap that is missing, and especially when you want to talk about climate change, environment, we want to reduce the emissions, carbon emissions, and the rest. I think there is a lot of space for EVs. The only thing is now work about their prices and ensure that there is tax incentives so that we can actually reduce the cost. As you have seen, abroad they are cheaper, but when they come here, they are becoming very expensive. So it's just working towards ensuring that we get them at manageable cost. But Kenyans always are very positive. As you can see, I think the last time I boarded an electric bus, I was very happy with the way it took me around, and I think EVs is something to look forward to. It represents the future.
Definitely.
Yeah.
I've boarded an electric ndudi, as they call it, yeah? Just too silent, I think I'm so used to the trauma of noise with motorbikes. I was like, hey, are we moving, which is quite interesting, come to think of it. And even policy-wise, because when you look, for example, at some of the propositions in the finance bill, 2024, it's kind of interesting. Like now, they're proposing to VAT, iron, the batteries, which again seems to be countercultural, counter-narrative to the issue of going green. And is this in line with what you're talking about? We speak from both sides of the mouth.
It's true, when we mean some business, let's mean that business. When we want climate change, let's do the incentives that are actually ensuring that we have climate change done. So I think it is let's pick one side of it. Let's say we want to encourage climate change. We want to encourage electronic vehicles. Let's do that. And again now, work also towards the cost of electricity, because
Yes.
you will charge the vehicles. So reduce the cost of electricity so that we can actually have a conducive environment for the same.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's amazing. Tomorrow is Madaraka Day.
Yes.
And